Sie hören Sport und Musik.
Das Spiel ist aus! Deutschland ist Weltmeister!
Mario Götze! Mario Götze!
Tonight, whether you call it football, or soccer, a German American and a German in America dare to call it Fußball. German football from an American point of view. Let's add some buns to that hamburger and join them for the Schnitzel Boys Deutschland Hour.
We're back, healed and ready to go.
Yes, we are back. Wow.
Been a while.
Week, we were banged up.
And then I was banged up 2 weeks ago, and I did that solo episode for like 20 minutes. So we haven't had a real Schnitzel Boys in a couple weeks, so we're back. It's real Schnitzel Boys time.
Yeah, I mean,
sorry, we're human beings, so sorry to our fans. Sometimes
the body gives out.
Sometimes the body gives out. You know,
my body gave out generously last weekend.
How specific do we want to be? I know you said you had upset stomach, right? Why do you? Was it because something you ate, or what happened?
I don't know. No, it's not something I ate because I passed it on to my entire family. So, so it was not food poisoning. It was one of those bugs. I don't know where I picked it up, but the apex of it definitely happened right at Schnitzel Boys hour. So I was I was unavailable.
True. And at the same time, I also was unavailable. So I have this crazy, I'm trying to think how specific I should be getting. Let's just say I had a thing where I couldn't really stand or sit for a while. So I was on my side for a little bit. And last week I planned to do the episode on my side. I was going to be like, hope no one wonders why I'm on my side.
Wow, okay.
But we didn't do that. We skipped it.
You can't hold up your head. You got to take the night off.
We had to regenerate. And you know who regenerated in that time was Bayern München. They played a little catch up. And Bayern München is only 2 points off.
What a segue! You are in the mend. That was a quality segue.
Well, I don't know. I was like, I don't know. I listen to other podcasts, and I'm like, should we just get right into it? I don't want to, but who knows? Maybe people value that because last week you were in Utah and you went on a ski sojourn in Utah. I love talking about that, but it's unrelated to football. So.
You mean we should be more focused? All right, let's go. Bayern 2 points behind, only of Leverkusen now, and now the big one's coming up.
The big one. Game. Leverkusen had a tie over the weekend, so they dropped 2 points while Bayern München has been winning. They're winning ways, and Bayern München. Again,
Leverkusen They didn't tie this weekend. They won this weekend, but the previous weekend they tied. Yeah.
Gotcha, because we missed an episode, so I'm a little out of whack.
Yeah,
they dropped a couple points.
This weekend they went back to their winning ways of Darmstadt 98. Could not stop them, so they beat them. But Bayern won again, beat Gladbach at home. So now it's 2 points. Leverkusen 52, Bayern 50 points, which apparently is a Bundesliga record for the most points of the top two teams this far into the season ever. There's never been two teams who combined for this many points at this point in the season. And it's, obviously, like 16, 20 games, Leverkusen 16 wins, 4 draws, 0 losses, and Bayern 16 wins, 2 draws, and 2 losses. So those are pretty good records.
Right. And the two of them are in a league of their own because there's a 10-point gap, I believe, between Bayern and Stuttgart.
Yeah, Stuttgart is next with 40, which is 2 points a game. That's nothing to scoff at. If you do that in MLS for the whole season, 2 points a game, that puts you in the top 10 teams all time.
Yeah, and also Stuttgart, it's so funny. They're having such a great season, but they're only third place. It's still good for them, but And back in the day, they'd be winning this league, but not these days. These days, Bayern München and Bayer Leverkusen are keeping up.
Are in there. And now, Stefan, is this because the fact that Leverkusen dropped points last weekend, was that because of the Xabi Alonso Liverpool rumors? Because this is the other thing we missed. Jurgen Klopp is out at the end of the season. Will leave Liverpool. He can't do it anymore. It's been too stressful for too long. He needs a break. And so then now everybody and their mother thinks Xabi Alonso is the natural because he's played there.
Yeah. That was big news, by the way. Really big news. Because the Jurgen Klopp has what's called a trickle-down effect. Like, that news is something people have been waiting on, Xabi Alonso, who's the hot European manager at the moment, crushing it with Bayer Leverkusen. He doesn't want anything with them yet. We're still waiting to. But he has been linked strongly to Real Madrid this whole season. And I believe that is real. So do I feel the Liverpool thing distracted him further? I don't think so. That's just adding more fuel to his fire. Xabi Alonso is the hot new guy. If PSG wanted to spend $1 billion on a new coach, they'd hire Xabi Alonso, right? He's like the hot. Manchester United is going to fire Eric Ten Hag over the summer and then offer Xabi Alonso $1 billion. Or so, you know what I mean? Like, he's the tippy top of the hot managers.
Right now, he is it. Yeah,
he's about to be song of the summer,
and we see how that goes. Sometimes people have staying power, and sometimes they don't. We had Graham Potter comes to mind in recent years. He was the big. He had a good run with Brighton, and then got the big job at Chelsea. It didn't work out. I don't know where he is now.
True, that's not 100%. That's not like that's not 100% comparable, I'd say. Because Graham Potter was a great coach. Xabi Alonso, I do feel, is the real deal. Because I think it was Jose Mourinho explained. I think his dad was a coach, and then Xabi spent his entire time with the best coaches as a player, right? And
I agree with you. I think he is the real deal, but this is like, his resume is very short. This is like a year and a half of Leverkusen, and prior to that, he hasn't done a lot. If he can resist, he'd be better off probably taking a couple more years somewhere, staying at Leverkusen or going. So I don't know. These big jobs come with a lot of pressure, and he's still learning. I don't know, but he is the hot thing, and probably how can you resist? How can you resist those kinds of offers when they
first and foremost? If he wins the Bundesliga with Bayer Leverkusen this year, that's a big, big deal. That'll be on his resume forever. He'll be the guy that broke the Bayern
streak. But we got
time.
That hasn't happened yet.
No, and it's only 2 points. And they lost Victor Boniface.
14 games. Yeah.
Are you
would you bet $1,000 on Leverkusen winning the league?
No, if you told me to bet money on who's going to win the league, it's Bayern München. That's the money I'd put on. Simply because they have the depth. And Bayern München, we've seen this story played out so many times before. But Bayer Leverkusen are a lot of fun to watch because Victor Boniface is injured. Don't worry about it. We have another Nigerian named Nathan Teller. I always think of Nathan Plate because Teller, of course, is German for plate. But anyway, so when he's in the Bundesliga, he scored 2 goals last week, right? He's like this obscure player they picked up from West Ham. And of course, they have Patrick Schick still. So they're, Bayer Leverkusen are pulling off some creative depth here to make the run, to make a go for it. I'm loving it. So I do hope they pull it off. But like I said, it's only 2 points. You got the big game this weekend. Now, Bayern München isn't super convincing. I mean, they beat Gladbach, but they were trailing at the half. They did this weird thing where, with Bayern München, it's just this. They come out swinging the second half, but they always have really sloppy first halves. And Bayern München win, but they're not winning super convincingly. If Harry Kane is off his game, I mean, Werder Bremen got him for 3 points 2 weeks ago, right? Or 3 weeks ago. I'm trying to calibrate my time here. If Harry Kane's not on, then they really don't have much to offer at that point.
Well, okay. Sané's having a good year.
Right, Sané's having a good year. But Gnabry, ghost of himself. I don't know what he's. If I'm Bayern München, I sell that guy. He needs to go to a mid-table club or something. He's not a high-caliber player anymore. Don't know what happened to him. But yeah, anyway, just long story short, I'd love to go back to Xabi for a bit. The Real Madrids, the Liverpools, yeah.
Any big team that's looking for a coach, his name's going to come up.
And Xabi Alonso, the only reason he's linked to Liverpool is because now Jurgen Klopp is stepping away. Jurgen Klopp is a great coach, but he does have this notorious 7-year itch. Like his last season at Borussia Dortmund was a disaster. I mean, Borussia Dortmund, I think, almost got relegated. They had to fire him right halfway through the year, or no, maybe he did leave at the end of the season. But
Liverpool are doing well. They just lost to Arsenal, but they are still
right. But yes. However, last season Liverpool didn't have an amazing season, and then maybe the year before that too, if memory serves. They were doing really well, and then the last year they kind of fell off the wayside a little bit. And, I hope he ends the season with a bang. I would love for Liverpool to win it one more time this year before he steps down. It'd be a different way from ending it. He's essentially going to end it before what happens to Borussia Dortmund happens again to him, before he is told to leave, he's going to end it on his own terms, and good for him. Then he's going to, quote unquote, take a year off. Pep Guardiola did that before he took this Bayern München job, and he spent a year in New York, for those of you who remember. So I'm curious. And that puts him right. Now, what's interesting about that is because in Germany, we have certain jobs for him to do, right? It's a time for the chosen son of Jurgen Klopp to take over the German national team in a year's time.
After the Euro? I mean, Nagelsmann's supposed to only be there for the Euro, right?
Right. And it's weird because he wants to take a year off. So technically he wouldn't be coaching the year after the Euro either, I guess. Unless they convince him otherwise. A, does he want the job? B, do we want him to have the job?
Sure, we want him to have the job. Sure. Why not?
If not him, who else?
Yeah, good question. I mean, it'll all depend on how this goes, right? This Euro at home. I mean, we'll see.
Can I share a little anxiety about the Euros this summer? I'm not feeling great about the German national team
about the German
and the
team?
Euros. I'm nothing. So far, I've seen no evidence over the last few years that has offered me any sort of inkling of hope that this is going to go well.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm not here to I don't have much to offer either in that regard. I mean, I thought
other than that one Rudi Völler game against France.
The US game was very good. The one that
that's true.
The one that I saw in Hartford was quite good. I mean, it continues to be a bit of a mystery. It's like the player pool is good. They don't have, on paper, they're not bad, but they have been less than the sum of their parts. And after a brief sort of Nagelsmann high, they came back to earth. Yeah, I don't know.
Pretty quickly,
but it's a home. I mean, we felt this way in 2006, right? 2006, there was some question marks. Are they going to be? And they did well. They made the semifinal. Could have. Well, I mean, no, they lost that pretty decisively. But anyway, that was a pretty good. They beat Argentina. It was a pretty good tournament. And so, who knows? Who knows? At home, there'll be some. They'll have some, maybe, I don't know. They seem to think that they have less support than ever at home. So maybe Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can't say I'm super optimistic, but I feel like my expectations are so well managed at this point that I'm it's hard to imagine being disappointed. I
The
mean,
other,
the group on paper, if they don't, I mean, no, that's not true. If they don't make it out of their group, I'll be disappointed for sure.
yeah, but even that group, it's like, well, we lost 3-1 at home to Turkey, right? We lost to Austria, Hungary. I think we're losing everybody. So if you show me a group of, was it Scotland? And let me double check. What's the group again? It's a soft group on paper.
Scotland, Hungary, and who is it?
Was it Czech Republic?
No, it's
okay. It's Switzerland. Switzerland, they know pushover. Germany,
Nope.
Scotland, Hungary, Switzerland. That's the group, with the Germans and the Swiss likely being favorites. But I mean, like I said, if any indication of how they've been playing is what they're going to do this summer, which is not really the case. You know, it's a tournament; things change, but still, like they have not shown the quality to beat Hungary or Switzerland as of late. Scotland, sure, but like not Hungary or Switzerland. So, but anyway, the other thing about the Jurgen Klopp to Germany thing is if I had to describe one thing Germany needs, it's confidence, right? The quality's there. They've got quality players, not terrible players. But for whatever reason, they can't get their act together, and there's something about their confidence. And I would say if there's one man who can fix the confidence of a group of young players, it's Jurgen Klopp. I mean, that's his specialty. That's his go. The rumor is, or the story goes, when Liverpool was hiring managers, they interviewed Carlo Ancelotti and they interviewed Jurgen Klopp. And Carlo Ancelotti, especially at that time, has coached everybody. He's the biggest, one of the big managers in the world. And Carlo Ancelotti is like, yeah, we need a new forward, new midfielder, new central defender. We need a new spine, right? And that's like, you know, any coach can say that. That's the first thing every coach will say when they look for a job. Then they interviewed Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp didn't say anything about that. Jurgen Klopp, all he talked about was instilling belief in the culture of the club. He just talked about psychological things. And he was hired. And other than Virgil van Dijk, that second year, they had no major signings. You know, I remember back in the day, the big star was Felipe Coutinho. Remember? He was the Liverpool big star. And when he was hired, when Klopp came in, Felipe Coutinho whined because he wanted to go to Barcelona. And remember there was this whole story where they forced him to stay an extra 6 months. And there was this whole mess between Felipe Coutinho. No one knew who Mohamed Salah was at the time. He was some obscure kid. And Felipe Coutinho went to Barcelona, and Mohamed Salah became a superstar. You know, and that was, I think, because Mohamed Salah bought into what Jurgen Klopp was offering. And you look at that and you think to yourself, boy, I would love for the German national team to get a little bit of that, you know, because I think that's what we need.
Sure.
The other big sort of rumor mill is maybe in a year's time, Jurgen Klopp will take over the Bayern München job. I've heard that mullied about because Thomas Tuchel, amongst his fans, aren't super happy with him because, you know, Bayern München are winning, but they're playing this weird 2 steps forward, 1 step backward type of football where just something's not coming to pot a little bit. I know they've added a little more reinforcements over the winter break, so we'll see how that affects them positively or negatively. But, you know, I mean, Eric Dyer, I don't know, you know.
That was an odd one, huh?
Yeah, you know, it's like, it's sort of a little bit of like, oh, it's just in general what's going, like, you know, they got rid of Oliver Kahn and Salihamidzic. It's like, well, this looks, if I didn't know any better, this could be your first season without a title in 11 years. So, or even longer than that. So, you know, what's going on over at Bayern München? Maybe Jurgen Klopp is the answer. They could definitely afford to pay him, where the German National Federation is notably broke. And I do have another update on that, by the way.
Okay.
So, did you see this article in Kansas City? There was an article about how Kansas City is going to host the German national team during the 2026 World Cup. And the reason is the case is because Kansas City just got this grant or something, or some sort of development grant or something about Kansas City and some sort of incentive, some sort of tax incentive for a World Cup team to host itself in Kansas City. And the German national team raised their hand and offered their services. They're like, we'll take it. And if I didn't know any better,
they're staying in Kansas City because it's cheaper.
Yeah, because it's like, hey, if they're gonna subsidize half the trip, sign us up. Like the German Federation is being creative. They are being very creative.
How are they getting? They don't. Okay, I have many questions.
I do. It's the specific. Essentially, I don't. I have to look the specifics up a little bit, but pretty much, Kansas City had
a tax break. They don't. The German Federation doesn't pay taxes in Kansas City to get a break from.
In Brazil, I think it just equates to a cheap trip because, like, in Brazil, they designed an entire complex on an island for the team. A German developer was building a hotel, and the German national team was like, hold up, we'll help you build this hotel if you design it for us first. And then when we're done, you can then open it to the public. So that's what they did. Spared no expense. They're on a private island. They had to ferry their full bus across the river. Ridiculous, you know. This isn't that. This is a different German Federation. German Federation heard about free housing in Kansas City. Just like
two group stage exits. The coffers are empty.
Yeah,
got nothing.
Something like that.
Sleeping in the train station.
Anyway, rumors are right now that Kansas City is the front runner to host the German national team, which I think is very smart, by the way. It's a central location. Kansas City has good resources, infrastructure. It does make sense. You know.
Kansas City has good infrastructure.
Yeah, to host soccer infrastructure, because once upon a time, after the Home Depot Center was built, Kansas City was built to be a U.S. soccer national training center, which it is. And it has many fields, and also it's got big hotels and big fields. Pretty much, that's what I mean. It's got good soccer infrastructure. It's not like they have to go to some high school and train a high school pitch. They're going to have real facilities.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, the other infrastructure is fine. You know, America is one of the only countries in the world that could host a World Cup tomorrow. You know, everybody needs to prepare. America doesn't even prepare crap. Stadium's good to go. Hotel's ready. You know. But anyway, I digress. It's just German national team news. Where do we want to go? I do want to talk World Cup. Anyway, so going back. So that's the Jurgen Klopp news. What would you, Bjorn, as a fan, what do you want to see happen? Like, what's your wish moving forward?
Regarding Jurgen's career?
Yeah.
I mean, he should do whatever he wants. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's hard, right? It's very, it's a stressful, well, he's going to take some time off and then he's going to not know what to do with himself. And then he's going to take another job somewhere. That's what's going to happen.
Right.
And does he want the German national? I don't know. Has he ever said anything about that? If that's something that he's interested in? I mean, that's definitely like just from a,
what about like Barcelona or something? How about that?
Just from a day-to-day perspective, I think coaching a national team is definitely less taxing in terms of, you're not with the team day to day. You don't have as many games. So it could be a transitional gig for him. It's like, it's almost like a part-time job compared to coaching Liverpool. Barcelona doesn't seem like a good job to take for anyone. They don't have any money. They still have expectations. Why did Xavi? That was he sort of quit in a little bit of a huff.
Right. He said Monday through Friday is not fun. That's what he said, which is interesting. And apparently another coach, I think the Sevilla coach, who's talking to someone and talking about how much fun he was having Monday through Friday. And he's like, here at Barcelona, Monday through Friday sucks. And then he stepped down.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think Barcelona is a good environment currently. So I don't know that I would recommend that. Well, Jurgen should do. I mean, he does not strike me as the pundit type. He seems so.
He did do that in the past. That was his. That's kind of what his coming out party was when he challenged Oliver Kahn on CDF, I believe.
But yeah, I don't know. Well, he'll figure it out. I'm not I'm not like. I mean, people should do what they want. It's not like he has an obligation.
The U.S. on the U.S. soccer boards, people are clamoring for Jurgen Klopp to be the head coach.
Jurgen Klopp to be the.
Yeah.
I mean,
honest question, Bjorn. I want to talk.
Does he have any? Is there any indication that he had?
His wife's favorite singer is Celine Dion. So if he lived here, he'd be nearer to the Celine Dion.
She's
concert.
Canadian.
Yeah, but nearer. It's a shorter flight from New York.
Celine Dion is ill, right? Celine Dion is indisposed.
Oh, is she?
She has some health problems.
Well, then he has no interest. That was the only thing I had going.
Well, if proximity to Celine Dion is I mean, unless she just wants to hang out with her, I guess she might still be available for that.
Honest question.
Honest question.
Let's deposit this as fans. Let's pretend Jurgen Klopp was the U.S. national team manager. Would the U.S. national team, do you think, be any better than under Greg Berhalter?
I mean, I definitely think the difference would be less than 99.9% of the U.S. men's national team fan base, who is like, I just read today there were more people on Twitter saying they're rooting for the U.S. men's national team to fail at Copa America this summer, just so that they can get rid of Greg.
Ridiculous.
I mean, do I think Jurgen Klopp's a better coach than Greg Berhalter? Yeah, sure. I think so.
You were about to say probably.
But you.
I would say definitely. I would say definitely.
But I mean, we've talked about this a million times. I think the U.S. player pool is not what. I don't think Jurgen Klopp taking over this team would make them. I mean, this is the narrative of U.S. men's national team Twitter, right? A lot of people are like, "Oh, if we have the golden generation of amazing players, and if we only had a decent coach, they would be instant contenders." I don't believe that's true.
Right.
I don't think this player pool wins the World Cup with Jurgen Klopp or anyone. Speaking of which, Gio Reyna to Forest. What do you think about that?
Good, as long as he plays. The problem with Forest is Matt Turner's about to lose a spot to the Belgian keeper. I don't know what happened to Matt Turner.
Well earned. He has had some blunders.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed. I thought Matt Turner really was gonna do it. It's too bad. But yeah, they hire. I mean, but this is the Forest transfer or roster building approach is like survival of the fittest. They just get a bunch of medium players and then they let them fight it out. And so, yeah.
There's been a lot of transfer stuff. Ethan Horvath, thank God, has left Nottingham Forest.
Out of there,
Cardiff. Yep. Gio Reyna went to Forest. He needs playing time as long as he'll play. If he sits on the bench in Forest, it's pointless. Should have stayed at Dortmund. Paxton Aronson's off to Holland to get some minutes. He's away from Frankfurt now. Brendan Aronson's staying at Union Berlin. The rumors that he was going to leave over Christmas time, and he's gone. But going back to our old little Zweikampf, have you been following the Duncan McGuire story?
I have. Yes, I have. I mean, it's like all Tom Bogert. It's all Tom Bogert is tweeting about. It's like, is it on? Is it off? And then in the end, it's on.
So the story goes, Duncan McGuire, who's an Orlando City player, right? Had a deal to go to Blackburn, which is in League One, right? It's third division, or is it Championship? I think it's League One.
It's Championship. I thought.
Is it Championship? Maybe it's Championship.
Oh. I assumed. Keep talking. I'll check.
Yeah, we talked about whether it's good or not. You're probably more suspect. Me, I'm all about it. Go challenge yourself. Go new country. And it's not easy, and this is a perfect example as to why. Apparently, on the flight to London, so he was on the flight, which means there was like a verbal agreement.
Yeah, championship, by the way.
Okay, good. Championship. They were going to pull out of the deal. And it's like, well, the poor guy's on the flight. And then by the time he landed, because they were going to hijack some other transfer, I forgot what the other transfer was. Apparently that fell through. So by the time he landed, and there were other rumors that another London club was going to swoop in on Duncan McGuire too. He must have had quite the flight. anyway, by the time he landed, the Blackburn move was back on again, thank God. And they signed him. But then they got
the paperwork wrong.
They got the paperwork wrong, so it turns out that it was like, there was a registration error, so maybe he's not on. And then apparently the last update is they won the appeal, or what?
I think they won the appeal and it's on. But it's a loan with a buy option, and it's for
6 months in the championship.
It's 6 months. It's very little money. I mean,
good for him, I say.
This is the okay.
That's like, but the only reason I brought that up is because, like you said, it's like let's say it got canceled and he was stuck out of luck. He was just in London with his thumb up his butt. You have to hop on a plane and fly all the way back or something. It's weird.
Well, that's what happened with Lucho Acosta, right? A couple of years back when he was supposed to go to PSG. There was this when he was at DC United. This is a few years back. There was a trend. It was a very funny. There's an Athletic article about this, about how there was somebody from PSG contacted DC United about Lucho Acosta, and he flew to Paris, and then it turned out the guy that they were talking to didn't work for PSG. It was like not a
scam.
And then he was already in town, and then there was some negotiation happened, and in the end they only wanted to. This all goes to show it's like these players are not valued by these. They're not highly valued by these teams, and so. I mean,
well, yeah, you have to, because again, you have to go. I have to rehash it. You have to go create your value, but like. South America and Africa are notorious.
You create your value. That's like
you're
like
nobody there because you're nobody.
It's like show up at a company where you're not working and just work for free and like.
Well, anyway, no, you have to have a contract.
We're going back. We're going back to most likely we'll never hear from Duncan McGuire ever again.
Perhaps, other than Saga. The another sort of transfer little snafu I'd love to talk about that we
also
missed.
No, hold on. Let me just real quick, because Gio Reyna, I don't think we'll see what happens. I don't think this is a good move for him. I don't think this is not a good, he doesn't like if he had asked me, which of course he did not, a Premier League team in a relegation battle is not my recommendation. Like he needs a more possession based team. I think he's not a counter. He doesn't have a counter-attacking profile, either as a winger or a number 10, really, right? Like as far as I'm aware. So
the other clubs were Marseille and Sevilla, I believe, and one or two others. I forgot. I think Sevilla would have been fun because he's got that sort of La Liga flair to him.
Although they're also they're a bit of a mess right now. They're like in a relegation battle also. But yeah, maybe I think I think this
Manchester United wasn't calling. I think Manchester United wasn't picking up the phone. I think so. If you're going to go somewhere, it's going to be a relegation club. I mean, he just needs to play. I don't know. Like he wasn't playing it by Borussia Dortmund. And if the ESPN FC guys are to be believed, and I do believe it, Gio Reyna is of a higher talent level than most of the players in Nottingham Forest. If he wants to prove himself, it's a great time to prove himself.
He is.
The dude's got talent. The dude can
he's
play.
Of a higher he's better than, I mean, like they have Morgan
Gibbs
Tell me
who's supposed
Morgan
to
Gibbs White. They have Callum Hudson-Odoi. He was like he was once meant to be
Callum Hudson-Odoi is a Bayer Leverkusen reject. It's a Bayer Leverkusen reject.
Well, now, yeah, I mean, what is Gio Reyna? What has Gio Reyna done? It's like
Yeah, but hold on. He wasn't playing at all at Borussia Dortmund. You're saying he should have stayed at Borussia Dortmund, just sat on the bench?
No, I'm not saying. I mean, it
He
seemed
needs
like
to
he
play.
had. It seemed like he got some. He got some more minutes, and there was maybe an opening. But yeah, I mean,
He's expected back. This is not a buy loan.
but
This
it's
is a
not. But
loan.
the
This is a
point.
loan with no buy. So it's
The
just 6
point that
months.
I'm making is that your point basically was like, oh, talent wins out, and you got to just make it happen no matter where you are. And I think fit is very important. Being valued is very important. All of those things are very important. Like context always matters. It's always an individual.
He
And
wasn't
it's and it's
playing,
and
and
it's
they
different. And
signed
it's different for
Jadon
everybody.
Sancho.
Yeah, and I think Forrest is gonna. It's not
Yeah,
for
but
sure that he's gonna play either.
yeah, but they signed Jadon Sancho. That says like now you're going to play even less. You know what I mean?
Well, he
So
wants
he
to
needs
be a
to go.
10 anyway. He doesn't want to be a winger. So,
He just needs to play. If Nottingham Forest doesn't play him, then of course it's a disaster. But I think they'll play him. I think he'll get minutes, and I think he'll make a difference over there.
all
That's
right.
his job.
Let's
And
see.
the other argument is the whole going to a fodder club for 6 months. That did wonders for Weston McKennie. Weston McKennie had a rough 6 months at Leeds. He was fat. He was fat as hell.
Fat?
He was not contributing. He was not helping them win. And that was a big wake-up call for him. That forced him to work. He slimmed up.
This
He's
is
working his butt off. And he's
this is
crushing
the
it at Juventus
exact
this year.
same. That's the exact same, or not the exact same. It's a similar situation that Gio Reyna is in now. It's like a relegation,
Right.
struggling
That's what I'm saying.
relegation
That's
battle.
perfect. It's going to be a wake-up call for him, and then maybe he'll come back to Borussia Dortmund next year and become a key figure. Who knows? I mean, you got to play. And he wasn't playing, and they signed reinforcements in his position. So it's like, you should go. He got himself a fancy new agent in Jorge Mendes, right? The Portuguese super agent. And Portuguese super agent gets his clients some playing time. So,
Well, he called in a favor with his pal
Nuno
Espirito Santo.
Espirito Santos.
So we'll see.
Right?
Yeah, if we'll see how that goes. I don't. Yeah, I don't. I'm not super optimistic.
Another big transfer story I found very interesting is the Jesus Ferreira to Spartak Moscow story.
Oh my God! What the? Yes. What?
$13 million. FC Dallas said yes, which I get. Jesus Ferreira said yes, which I do not get. MLS said no, which normally I don't love. But honestly, they were in the right. MLS was correct. Because you don't go to Russia right now.
What
2
is
years
Ferreira?
ago,
What
sure.
is he? What is Ferreira? What is he thinking?
I have no idea.
It's
because,
just money. Money talks. Like he doesn't.
I guess
nothing else matters.
Spartak Moscow would have been an amazing club like 2 or 3 years ago, before the war and all that. You know, Spartak Moscow plays in Europa League, plays in Champions League. Russian League is, I'm sure, comparable to MLS, if not better. And the pay is much better there. So I would have been all about that move 2 or 3 years ago. But the Russian League is sanctioned. They don't play in UEFA competitions right now. So he'd be going to a club where he can't play in any high-level competition. It makes no sense to me. So I felt that was a good nix from MLS. I don't know why he.
Well, there's an international. There's sanctions right now against Russia. So how could how could they even pay a transfer fee? Like this was a crazy story. This made no sense at all. That it got as far as it got. Yeah.
It's like Hayes Ferret FC Dallas. It's like read a newspaper. I mean, what the? What do you guys?
Yeah, that was a wild. I forgot about that because that was now a couple weeks ago.
But that also leads to the FC Dallas problem, which is what's their priority: winning titles or selling players? And this is a clue that's like they're a player factory. They're just the minute a decent offer comes through, they're just like, yes, please. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's MLS in general. If it's $12 million is a lot. Duncan McGuire was like what, 3? Yeah,
I have no idea, but yeah, 13 million is a hefty transfer. And again, in the old days, that would have been a good transfer. Spartak Moscow, big European club, would have been great.
Can't go to Russia right now.
But right now, you can't do that because there's political sanctions, and footballing sanctions.
And for good reason, too.
And they're at war. Yeah, and they're currently at war. So why go? So yeah, that's just a little interesting transfer roundup. What's been going on in our silly season?
Emil Forsberg is very confident about a Red Bull.
He scored a full goal, field goal.
He says he knows says he knows how good he is.
Yeah, because he's very talented. But he scored a full field goal in preseason. Right, caught the keeper off his line. I was like, if you got more of that during the season, I'll take it.
That bodes badly for you. He's going to try that every time now.
That's okay. There was a guy. You want a little MLS history lesson?
David Villa scored one of those from Philly, and then he tried it way too many times. What?
Well, that happens. Little history lesson, little MLS history time, Bjorn, here in the Deutschland Hour. So, back in the day in the MLS, in the old MLS young days, back when I was me and like 40 other guys followed the league, there was a player named Antonio De La Torre. He was from the De La Torre family, which is a big Mexican soccer family. His dad was a legend. His uncle was a legend. His cousin was actively a legend. But he was like he was like the cousin. He was the least talented of the family. He was a player, but not an amazing player. His uncle was more the big deal. But anyway, he played for Colorado Rapids. Colorado Rapids signed him up. And when they signed him, he said, I'm going to score a full field goal. He just said that during the opening press conference. And all season long, he just kept kicking it. Just kept trying to. He almost got it once. But after a few weeks, he was benched because it's just like, if that's where it's like, buddy, we're playing soccer here. I don't know what you're doing. And he went and sat on the bench. And I think that was his last professional contract. The story of Antonio De La Torre.
That's crazy.
And then I think he did maybe play in the lower leagues or something. I don't know. But old days of
I don't know.
MLS.
This bodes poorly for you. I think that this worked for him once. We'll see.
I don't know.
My team is signing all the Serbians.
Oh, you know what I want to talk about with you?
Okay. What do you want to talk about?
You're doing it right. So there's some NYCFC product crushing it in Europe right now. I think Bayer Leverkusen is about to sign him. You know what I'm talking about? He's a young Croatian American or Serbian American from the NYCFC Academy. He's from New York. His parents are Croatian or something. But he left 2 years ago. He went to a club in Croatia, I think. Dinamo Zagreb, I believe, perhaps.
Okay.
And he's like the hottest young player in Croatia right now. And he is being scouted. I think Bayern München and Bayer Leverkusen are about to sign him. You know what I'm talking about?
Nope.
Oh, well, he's an NYCFC Academy product. I just wanted to say kudos. That's what we're talking about. I love that. That's the whole point of the Academy. Well done. That's what I was going to say.
Wait,
you have no idea what I'm talking about.
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Creating players. You created a player. This Croatian American kid who's from the NYCFC Academy. He was up until 2 years ago. He was sold to Dinamo Zagreb or whatever. And then he's like crushing it. He's like Croatia's hottest young player. And Bayern München and Bayer Leverkusen, I think, are about to sign him if they haven't already. And he is an American. He's eligible to play for the United States because he's from New York. So
Dino Klapja.
Maybe. Is that him? Dino.
I have heard his.
Dino Klapja.
Yeah.
Was he just signed? Oh, well, he's just signed by Leipzig, right? Is that his thing? Yeah.
Current rumor.
Oh, it's still rumored. Yeah. But I just want to say thumbs up. Thumbs up. More of that, please.
He was kind of all right. Well, great. Yeah. Well, he's in Croatia. We're getting we got a Serbian center back, and we're getting an 18-year-old wonder striker compared to Wayne Rooney. He's
Wayne Rooney now or Wayne Rooney as a kid?
Wayne Rooney he looks older than 18. He looks like he's 32. We're signing all the players. We got Hannes Wolf from Mönchengladbach, Austrian player. We got We're getting a new goalie. We signed Andres Pereira. I mean, our team is looking strong, I will say. Maxi Morales is back.
We signed 2 Swedes. Emil Forsberg, who is a real talent. I'm looking forward to him, especially with him and Dante Vazir working together. And then we signed some Swedish youth international back. And I'll tell you, if that's all we're signing, then I have a feeling that's all we're signing. And
because you lost a couple people, right? You lost
failed promises.
You lost the mighty
Homer
Tom Barlow. You lost Luquinhas, right?
Yeah, and
Homer
Fernandez. But the big
there's got to be more. There's got to be more people coming.
Yeah, I hope so. The big announcement was we signed a new sporting director. We signed Julian de Guzman, one of Canada's greatest Bundesliga exports. He played for Hannover 96 back in the day. He was a failure for Toronto. But the reason he's an obscure signing is because his professional experience as sporting director is in Canada's 3rd division or something, where his last team he was a sporting director for folded or something. You know, he has very little obscure experience. But he played for Ralf Rangnick in Hannover 96 many, 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 many years ago. And I think that's all they needed. He's got the job. He's now the head sporting director of New York Red Bulls is Julian de Guzman, the pride of Toronto himself. So I'm very curious how that'll go. I'm also really excited because our assistant coach is Vedad Ibisevic. Remember Ibisevic crushing it in the Bundesliga?
Mm-hmm.
And Ibisevic famously was a refugee in St. Louis, played for the St. Louis Billikens. So he has an American connection. And I'm glad he's back in America and he's coaching in MLS. And I'm excited about our coaching staff, which was finalized. So, you know, we have Sandro Schwarz, Vedad Ibisevic, and another Bundesliga assistant coach. And we have this new sporting director,
and we got and Dean Smith in Charlotte, one of your
many connections.
That's what you wanted to see, like old English coaches coming to MLS.
What do you mean? That's what I want. When did I say that?
You said like you wanted to see who was it? Who did you want to come to MLS? Roy Hodgson?
I wanted David Moyes to coach the U.S. men's national.
David Moyes, right? The
I didn't want him to coach Charlotte FC. I could care less.
Moyes
we have all sorts of. We've had so many obscure English coaches here. Owen Coyle, the guy up in Toronto, John Carver.
Dean Smith is not obscure,
right? What's funny about that is because North Carolina's most legendary coach is a man named Dean Smith. He was Michael Jordan's coach at UNC Chapel Hill, and he's one of North Carolina's great coaches.
You think this is just mistaken identity?
It might be mistaken identity. If anything, it's a good sign. It's just good. It's just a good omen that he's got the right name. I don't know. Charlotte FC seems like a club that doesn't really. They seem like a Transfermarkt club, kind of like a Toronto. There's a guy on Transfermarkt looking up contracts.
Like,
That guy. You know, because they had Karol Swardowski, and last year the only big signing they did was another forward. It's like, no. You already have a forward. So, and then they had a pretty forgettable season, right? This past season. And, I don't know. Is Dean Smith supposed to fix that? We'll see.
I thought you'd be more excited about him. All right.
I'm fine. Why would I? I don't know.
You were promoting the English. All right. Well, I'm not going to try to talk you into it.
You misconstrue my message. My message was I wanted a veteran European quality professional as our new head coach heading into this cycle. We didn't get it. We got Greg again, which is what it is. And I wasn't saying David Moyes is number one, but I was like, someone like a David Moyes. He's a Premier League veteran, and the dude's a good coach, man. I don't know.
Dean Smith is a lot like David Moyes.
I guess I'd put David Moyes above. I mean, am I missing? Dean Smith was great at Aston Villa. That was his thing, right?
He's above. I agree.
But that was it. Other than Aston Villa, Dean Smith doesn't have much to offer, right? Or am I wrong? It was like Dean Smith was a hot coach for Aston Villa for a couple seasons, and that's it. That's his career. He fizzled out as other clubs.
All right.
Or David Moyes was like an Everton legend, and then he was handpicked to be the Man United coach, which history has proven to be less his fault than first thought. And now he's doing pretty good at West Ham. I mean, he just won the Europa
Yep.
Conference with them.
I agree.
So, between Dean Smith and David Moyes, I'd pick David Moyes.
All right.
And we were talking national team. We we're talking about Charlotte FC. I could give two craps for Charlotte FC hires, to be honest. But I'm curious. Who I'm worried about is Tata Martino.
Tata Martino. What are you worried about him?
His old ass players getting injured and losing 6-0 in Saudi Arabia and flying halfway across the world a day before the season starts. And did I tell you about the ticketing mess to buy tickets to the LA Galaxy game?
Yeah.
How the cheapest tickets were $500.
Yeah, and you got hosed. Yeah.
And I was really hoping I didn't buy a ticket, so I did well. And I'm really hoping Leo Messi gets injured and doesn't show up. And I think my wish is coming to fruition.
It seems. I mean, those guys are not going to play the whole season. That's always been clear. And this preseason business. Yeah, I mean, who cares? On the other hand,
rumors are they're going to cancel their Vissel Kobe game because essentially Messi's injured. Hong Kong was very upset. They're actually going to. The city of Hong Kong gave a grant to this marketing company to host the team, and Messi didn't play. So now the city of Hong Kong is going to punish the marketing company because it's China, and the Chinese government does not F around. Those marketing boys, they're about to get in trouble. I mean, they're not going to see their families for a while.
We just had people fighting today. NYCFC had the Miami road game ticket contingent went on sale, and people were fighting over away tickets to go to Miami. I can't go. It's the end of March. I'm not available, so people can have it.
Cool. Is it? Do they pay for it? Is it free, or how does that work?
Well, it's now a little, because it used to be away tickets were always $10 if
right.
You
that's
were,
right. With Miami,
if you were, and now it's they changed it this season, but it's still not a lot of money. But there's only
Miami. It's not a separate
there's only
charge.
a few. Well, if you want me to, I'll look it up. I didn't really pay attention because I can't go. But
LAFC has been texting me. They have some sort of ticketing offer. They texted me today. I want to reach out. You still have your membership deposit? I don't think so. We'll see. I'm still debating. I'm on the list.
So no, it's $25. Not that much.
Well, that's amazing. Here for the LA Galaxy to watch Messi, and we're the home team. Like I said, the tickets were $500 starting.
This is for supporters and season ticket holders. But it's only, I don't know how many. I think it's probably like 50 tickets or something. This is not a lot of tickets.
Flying to Miami and paying $25, probably the cheapest way to see Leo Messi in general. The home fans aren't getting that price.
I would have put my name in if I'm doing something else that week, but
yeah,
I've never been to Miami.
Well,
I would go, but if I would go and I wouldn't care if he was injured, I would still be just as happy to be there.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, do it up. So MLS is ramping up. We got the Coachella games next week. It might be
That's
going
right. Wednesday, NYCFC's playing.
New York Red Bulls. I'm still waiting on a couple players. It's true. I'd be very surprised if
our front office clearly has made. I mean, I will say they were saying, sort of giving their mea culpa about like waiting too long to sign people and not being. This season they are not doing that. It seems like we really have a fully complete roster as of this moment. I think the only maybe left back is the only position where I have a question mark, but I'm feeling pretty good about the season. I don't know. Maybe that's dumb.
With the New York Red Bulls, they have this whole spiel of like, you're right, it's not good enough. We've been promised resources and blah, blah, blah. If all that talk was just Emil Forsberg, then I would say we'll put that in the negative column. That's a -1. It's like, to me, that when you offer that information of like, we're going to finally give you resources, I think of the days we had Thierry Henry, Tim Cahill, and Rafa Marquez at the same time. You know what I mean? So I think at least one more
Red Bull legend Rafa Marquez, especially.
But you know what I'm saying? We had the DPs, we had prime players in their 20s. I don't know. We had a roster. It's not just a bunch of kids. So if ML Forsberg is all they're offering, then
that's not enough.
That's not enough. They lied to us again.
But I mean, they turned everybody over just now. You were saying it's going to take a minute, right, for them to.
I hope so. Yeah, we still have a few weeks. They just got the new sporting director in, but the European transfer window closed. It's done with, right? I guess they can still sign players out of it.
Well, it's always there's always. I mean,
and the MLS window's happening. I'm not seeing many trades. You know,
and in most leagues, the window in is open until for a while, until late April. And I think in most places people can always leave.
Well, it's February.
You can't bring people in, but if people leave, you can.
It's February, and our last game was November, probably. And we've signed 2 players. So a Swedish youth international.
I mean,
we wouldn't find anybody anyway. And then the ML Forsberg, who we've been hearing for months, and that happened.
That was us. That was us last year, where we're kind of a lot of people left, and it was like, where are the reinforcement? Then we got Richie Ledesma on loan or whatever, and it was it was, and they seem to be determined not to make that. I mean, not just seem to. They've absolutely delivered. Maxi Morales is back in training. He's still going to be a while because he has a bad injury. But I mean, we are at least double booked. We got the new Uruguayan winger from Argentinian winger. Sorry, Agustino Ojeda, and then there was a rumor that Thales Magno was going to leave and go to Bologna, and that seems to be off. They want to keep him. So, yeah, we're too deep at every if the Serbian striker in fact comes, and we're pretty well deep now.
Cool.
It'll be interesting.
I'm trying to think. What I was gonna say. Very cool. Very cool. I guess we're still.
You're still waiting.
Yeah, we're still waiting. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Oh, what I was going to offer is there's been some really cool free agents. Kellen Acosta's available. Dax McCarty's available. I'll take both.
Wait, Dax McCarty went to.
Then he went. He was available for a week, but then he signed with someone else. I forgot who it was. But Dax McCarty is a New York Red Bulls legend, and we'll take Dax McCarty in a heartbeat. But the club is like,
go home again. He's not going to come back.
But it's a perfect example. Just sign him, even just to sit on the bench.
Atlanta United.
Atlanta got themselves a great locker room guy. I'm like, what was wrong with signing Dax? We need a 36-year-old. All our players are 22 and under. Crying out loud.
Kellen Acosta is going back to the Rapids, right? Maybe is that
probably good for them. The Rapids are signing up the kind of players that I wish the New York Red Bulls was signing. They have the Georgia, but they took Omer Fernandez, who was a big loss, by the way. I love Omer. Is one of our best players. One of our best homegrowns, and we lost him on a free. Away he goes. And I'm like, I would have liked to have kept Omer Fernandez. Luquinhas we sold for money, thumbs up. Tom Barlow we sold for money, double thumbs up. A lot of our outgoings have been good. And our incomings is just these 2 Swedes. This unproven youth player who we always sign, unproven youth Scandinavian players are the New York Red Bulls specialty. We have those in spades. We've always had those. This new sporting director is unproven. They're just the big frustration with New York Red Bulls is they refuse to sign proven personnel or players. It has to be unproven, always. And it's like, why is it always a gamble, man? It'd just be a nice breath of fresh air if you chose players with winning records that they could bring to the Red Bulls. You know what I mean? It's been 26 years. Via the parity laws, every club should have at least one MLS club by now. Should have one MLS Cup by now, even just by osmosis. And we've done whatever it takes to thwart that and avoid that. We're the only original club without any titles. FC Dallas doesn't have an MLS Cup, but they do have a US Open Cup. So we have no silverware. And for whatever reason, even this laws of parity and everybody have to be the same, we're the only club that never could figure that one out. So, again, it's like, why does it always have to be unproven? Who the hell is Julian de Guzman, man? Get Todd Kuntz. Get Garth Lagerwey, man. Go sign a real player. Get Kellen Acosta. The dude's got titles under his belt. He's a holding mid. He was free. Go get him. You need a goal scorer. Go get a scoring champion. Just one is all I'm asking. So that's my frustration as a New York Red Bulls fan. Why does everything have to be so obscure and unproven? Why, Bjorn? Why?
You got Emil Forsberg, man.
Yeah, that's true. But again, he's like a Tim Cahill, Juan Pablo Angel level player. We've had those players before, and those have not been our biggest players, A. And B, they were part of a roster with a lot of other reinforcements. We don't have those kind of most of our players are kids. So it's like Emil Forsberg and a bunch of kids is not the same as our old Juan Pablo Angel days. Our old even our days where it was BWP and Danny Royer and those guys and Lloyd Sam. And they were all late 20, early 30-year-old professional players. So, yeah. I don't know how to feel. I hope Emil Forsberg is confident and plays well and isn't too bothered by the travel, isn't too bothered by the turf, isn't too bothered by the MLS officiating and all that stuff, isn't too bothered by the Latin flair that MLS has and Bundesliga does not have.
He's going to be your Messi, man.
I think John Tolkien is our Messi. Medford Messi.
He's still there, right? He didn't go anywhere?
Thank God he stayed, at least for now.
All this many offer. He's another one of those. Like, he's going to Europe for sure.
Yeah, at least Leipzig. All right, bud.
All right, well.
Who's going to win this weekend? Bayern München or Bayer Leverkusen?
It's going to be a tie.
Yeah, probably. Honestly, this is exactly why. I think it's going to be like a 0-0. It's going to be like a 0-0 game. And it's going to be like this both point above, and nothing has been solved. We're just going to keep moving forward. In this Bundesliga, the Bundesliga World Cup Finals in New York.
Yeah, that'll be good.
2 of the U.S. games are in Los Angeles.
Tickets will be $1 million each.
But I'm going to stay here in L.A. and get to watch my U.S. boys twice. I'm going to buy a stadium pass, I think. Yes, Daniel Young, he, him, here. Yes. What a big deal. NYC at MetLife.
A huge deal. Huge deal. That's the biggest game.
94 was in LA, but in 26
it does not get bigger than that.
New York City. And you don't have to bring anyone in because New York City can probably fill that stadium, no problemo. All right. Cheers.
Some people will come. Cheers. Cheers.